Under the L. Oops, I missed it.
Have bought us a place to sleep. Instead of a nice bed, we get to sleep on cardboard out here. If you're really lucky, you can get a tent. Some people have tents out here, but even the tents you see are often very dirty, and they have things like cardboard inside them anyway. So pretty much you're sleeping on cardboard if you're sleeping out here. There's no bathroom, so if you have to use the bathroom, people just use the bathroom wherever in the woods. There's bugs, there's all types of insects and flies. It's not.
Thank you.
Not somewhere you would want to bring anybody. Most certainly not a child. So as you can see, we just have a couple of shirts and. We don't even have blankets right now because somebody stole our blankets and somebody stole our bed sheets. It was another homeless couple who picked up our stuff when we tucked them away.
Damn.
This is also, you know, where we end up eating a lot of times too. You know, it's somewhere, there's really nowhere where you could use drugs that people are okay with it. So you got to find spots like these to be able to do things. Without being seen.
Do you guys get scared sleeping back here?
Absolutely. Sometimes there's raccoons or possums. Yeah, the other day there was a rat that ran past us when we were trying to lay down. So it's definitely not.
It's a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage?
A lot of bugs.
I can see them right now in plain sight.
Yeah. So I mean, what we do is we'll move around a lot. You know, I might end up picking up these and moving to another clearing. When garbage builds up in these spots, or people use the bathroom a lot, that's when you get a lot of bugs and flies. So you know, we're constantly on the move. We don't really have a place where we can call home. We don't have you know, cabinets to put clothes in, or wardrobes, or a place to keep clothes. Things that we do have often get stolen, so we got to keep what we can on us and whatever's important to us on our person at all times. But people constantly are getting their, you know, phones and wallets robbed, like we both did, and I hear it all the time out here. So you know, just using drugs alone will put you in a state of mind that people could do whatever they want with you. They can, you know, take your money, take your wallet, take your phone, and you won't know what happened or who did it to you. You'll just wake up with your stuff gone. Hi, my name is Peter Carazone, and I am a drug addict.
Nice to meet you, Peter. Welcome to the family. How old are you?
I am 33 years old.
33 years old. Wow, a very young guy. Where are you originally from, Peter?
Originally from New Jersey, North Jersey. I was born at St. Joseph's Hospital in Patterson.
Shout out Jersey, we out there representing. Please tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up, Peter.
Growing up, I moved around a little bit. I went to private school as a youngster. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my father worked full-time in the medical field as a doctor. As his practice grew, we eventually were able to afford better housing. So we moved from Garfield to Mahwah. After Garfield, we were able to move up to Mahwah, where my father started building a house which he had designed, because he was also an engineer. After investing in this house and his practice, he had 4 kids with my mother, and around the age 15, their relationship went sour and they got a divorce. Around this time, I was having problems in private school. I guess you could say I was acting out. All my grades weren't bad. I had A's on my report card, but it'd be mixed. I'd have a couple A's, 1 or 2 C's, and then a couple of F's. So I was always like at extremes as a child. I either was really interested in the class and the teacher and performed very well, or I wasn't interested at all. And when my attention would stray, like ADD, I guess, I didn't perform well. Like things like math, things that were very monotonous to me and boring. So then after my parents got divorced, the acting out in school got, I guess, worse, you could say. I was constantly getting sent to the disciplinary office, constantly getting Sunday detentions, then, you know, suspended. I was expelled from middle school, but I was still allowed to graduate, I guess, because my parents paid the money, which was a ridiculous amount of money. But I got my I got my high school diploma from Bergen Catholic in 2005. Then I went into college, and my home life at home wasn't exactly ideal. After the divorce, my mom had difficulty coping with her new life, and would often get in fights with me about it as being the oldest child. On Christmas, one day she got in an argument with me and started to hit me over the head with the phone and told me that I was to either go to an orphanage or live with my father. And at the time I wasn't speaking to my father, because when they got divorced, my mom told me all these crazy, horrible stories about my dad, a lot of them that weren't true, you know, about him. All right, so after my parents got divorced and my mother struggled with that, she kicked me out of the house, giving me an ultimatum to either, well, I guess it wasn't much of a choice. She told me pretty much, you're living with your dad or living on the streets, which is not, you know, obviously I was forced to live with my father. At the time, she told me a bunch of things about him that weren't exactly true, and I wasn't speaking to my father at the time. So here I am, 16 years old, getting kicked out of my mom's house Christmas Eve, and I got to go live with my dad, who I hasn't talked to in almost a year at this point. My dad took me in. Ever since then, I was separated from my brothers and sisters, and I'm the oldest of 4. Once again, so you can imagine, you know, growing up, we always had 2 bunk beds in the room. It was me and my 2 younger brothers, and the youngest, my sister. You know, 4 kids in one room, and then it went to me being alone at my dad's house. And my dad, you know, having to pay for alimony and child support for 4 kids and private school, he had to upkeep working all the time, because that's the lifestyle that was provided, you know, on paper. And through family courts, there was no prenuptial. I guess at that time my father was naive and didn't think that people would get divorced if they were serious about, you know, being married, and he learned a lesson about that. So she got him pretty good with the 4 kids and the lifestyle we were living, as far as schooling and housing and whatnot. he had to pay my mother a large lump sum of money and couldn't afford to take any time off work because he had to continue to make the money that he was already making, which was pretty much working all day while she was supposed to take care of the kids. Now that I'm with my father, he's got nobody to watch me, so I went from school to home by myself at 16 and up. So I was a child who probably needed supervision, and was already acting out in school and displaying some problems. I was only using marijuana at the time, and I started dabbling in cocaine towards the end of high school. I'd also done things like mushrooms, and we drank cough syrup, took Percocets. Then, when I got to college, I continued to smoke weed. My drug use started being a problem. I got in trouble with the law. I got arrested at the age 17 with a couple bags of marijuana and a scale. From then, it just progressed worse. I would continue to get arrested. Me driving around, I got a lot of tickets. I started hanging out with kids who weren't doing the things that I was doing. Like I was supposed to be in college, going to class, and instead I'm hanging out with kids who smoke weed and deal drugs all day. And I remember thinking that, my father works very hard for his money, and these kids who had nothing would be, impressed by what my father could provide for me. But at the same time, I had no cash of my own. Everything was bought for me. My dad would buy my clothes, my car, put gas in my car, provide the schooling. These kids who came from nothing were walking around with pockets full of drugs, no supervision, nobody to tell them what to do, and they're hanging out smoking weed, and they have more money in their pocket than, my dad would have on him at the time. Of course, my dad would have money in the bank that, they wouldn't be able to come close to. But as far as cash on hand, as a child, that was impressive to me. To be able to see a kid who didn't go to school, didn't do what he's told, but could whip out a wad of money, a couple $100s, and pretty much buy or do whatever he wants, while he's walking around playing, smoking blunts, and everyone else is working hard to get money. And I remember wanting to, going from wanting to go to school and be a doctor or a lawyer, or be whatever I want, to actually wanting to be a drug dealer. I wanted to be able to hang out and do drugs and get paid for it. That seemed like power to me, and it seemed like that they were living the life compared to somebody who plugs into the system and works a 9 to 5 and works a job that they don't necessarily want to work all the time, when they could be home playing with their family and their kids, and these other people had the opportunity to do it. Of course, that's a very narrow-minded and young perspective. After hanging out with these kids, their lives would never end well. Eventually, if they were dealing, they'd be getting arrested. Even if they was, only smoking weed and dealing drugs, they would be sloppy. They'd be driving around stinking like pot. Everywhere they go, everyone pretty much knows what they're about and what they're doing, and you could see it in their eyes. And the way society views people like that is not necessarily a good look. I mean, on one hand, it seems fun, and it seems like they're getting over a little bit, like they found a loophole where you could just hang out all day and live the dream. But it's not really like that. Nobody really respects somebody like that. I mean, I know I don't. I mean, as much as I like the money and the lifestyle on the outside. These people, like as people on the inside, were often kind of soulless. They didn't really give a fuck about anything. Didn't really care about where their life was going. A lot of them would say stuff like they weren't scared to die, and they would live very recklessly. I started having friends who would bring out handguns around me. A lot of them were like serial numbers and hollow point bullets, and I guess they do this shit just to be cool. But I remember thinking like this isn't just hanging around and smoking weed anymore. Like now we're now people are making a lifestyle out of it. The lifestyle I was raised in kind of sheltered me from the reality of the streets. Growing up, I had a church in Passaic that my grandparents went to from Garfield, and Passaic eventually became a drug area. So after church, my parents would always tell me, get in the car and go home. You're not to walk around Passaic. You're not to be in these areas. A lot of these areas are the ones I ended up in my drug use, and I feel like it was almost like kind of shelter from reality. I think a lot of these kids get to see firsthand what drugs do, and it makes it not appealing. But if you're an isolated child in the suburbs, and you're bored in your room, and you've got money, you've got toys, but you've got nobody to hang out with and no friends, drugs seem appealing because it's something that's going to make you feel better. It's something that's going to fix your boredom. It's something people are going to want to hang out and do with you. And it looks totally different from that perspective, compared to somebody who's maybe born into it, and they grew up in a house that's got no food in the refrigerator, and their mom's constantly bringing different guys in and out of the house or in the bathroom, and selling her body for drugs, and never has any money, while all the other kids have toys and parents who are hanging out with them. Kids grow up and they see that, and they learn to hate it, and they see it for what it is. But kids like me who grow up in these wealthy societies, we get a DARE class, and in DARE they tell you, you can't have this because it's going to make you feel really, really good, and it's going to make you feel so good that you're not going to want to stop, and that's why you can't have it. And that's kind of the explanation they give, other than show a couple of pictures. You don't really get down to the nitty-gritty and show you, what you guys get to see every day here on the L train and under the L train, and the way people live, and this is the real embodiment of what addiction is and where it will bring you. So supposedly there's people who use drugs and don't get addicted. They always say don't take the first one. Me, I was always I tried almost everything out there. It's all the same crap. Out of 1 or 2 good experiences, there's 100 more bad ones, and more misery that outweighs the benefit. Once again, I said I started out, smoking pot, and pot in itself really necessarily isn't a bad thing. It's the hard drugs that really brought me down. But I could also say that sitting around smoking pot all day, as fun as it was, I didn't accomplish any goals. I didn't see a future for myself. It was very, very unproductive, and I guess you could say it held me back from doing a lot of other things. Once you experience something, you should gain from that experience and continue to grow. But if something stops you and prevents you from growing and attaining your your dreams and desires and goals. A lot of people out here, they don't even know what those are. They kind of wake up like zombies every day and they're on autopilot. And that's when a series of bad decisions turns into somebody who's not even making. They're just running on fume. When people get stuck out here, they're either it's one of two things. Either they know what they need to do and they can't seem to push themselves to do it, and they could talk about it, but their legs don't actually go and do the things that they talk about, or they're stuck out here and they don't know what to do about it, and they don't know how to get help, or don't believe that there is help, or there is an answer, or there is recovery. Before I ended up down here on this route, I was in a recovery house for a couple months on Suboxone, and before that I was in a recovery house for a couple of days getting off Suboxone. And when I got off of it, I guess I came off too quick because I relapsed and was trying to do everything else right. This time around I was on Suboxone for a much longer time, a couple months. I had a steady job, things were looking good. I had IDs, a place to live, I was saving money, and I was reaching some of my goals. And when I fell off this time around, it happened so quick. I lost my phone, and then I lost my wallet, and that made getting out of the situation 100 times harder than it would have been had I had access to my phone and been able to contact my job and try and maintain employment while I was figuring things out. I got kicked out of my recovery house, lost my phone, lost all my money, lost my wallet, and eventually lost all my clothes. All my clothes were thrown out when I went to a place to go get sent to a detox. I was there for 7 hours, and then I left and came back, and when I came back, they had thrown away all my clothes. So then I was stuck out here with all my clothes, and my significant other, who was up here with me, was stuck out here as well. And me not having a phone or no way to contact her, I had her stuck out here, and I had to kind of figure out what to do. And running up and down these streets the past couple of days has been very eye-awakening and a rough reminder of where I came from. But I know that from this last round that there is a way that we can get out of it, and that people do recover and can get out of this mess. I've been here before. Me and Crystal both have been here with no IDs and no money in our pocket, and we've managed to obtain jobs and get apartments in New Jersey. So I think this is an opportunity for a new beginning, to get up and actually do it. Now, the first couple of days I was stuck out here, I should have went and did what I did today, which was go to the first stop and find out about the shelter and find out about what I need to do to get my IDs back, what social workers, because there's plenty of programs available to help. People don't know about them or don't know where to go. Either that or they're that high off of the drugs and stuck that they physically can't move, which is is a reality. If you walk up and down these streets, you'll see people all the time. I saw somebody in the middle of the street causing traffic. The cars couldn't get by because he wanted to take a nap in the middle of the road. That was a couple blocks from here. There's other people constantly getting removed by the police for nodding out or overdosing on people's property or people's businesses. It's an epidemic out here. A lot of people, I think, kind of gave up on themselves and don't believe that they're capable of change or capable of being happy in a sober life. I know I sure as hell didn't for a very long time until I actually did it this go around and had as much as success as I did in a short amount of time. I mean, by the end of this month, if I would have kept the way I was going, I would have definitely had a license and a car, you know. So the way I see it is I got two options. I could stay stuck out here and continue to do what I'm doing and nothing's going to change, or I can go seek the help and the programs that are out here and get back to where I just was. You know, when I started this journey a couple months ago, I had nothing. I had no clothes. I had no phone. I had no job. I had no wallet. And I was able to get all those things. So there's no reason why I can't get those things again. There's no reason why anybody out here can't get those things. A lot of people out here are, you know, addicted to drugs, but other than that, they're capable of work. They're smart. A lot of them are actually good, caring people once they get clean. But it's hard when you get stuck out here and your head's not right, and the drugs will continue to keep you down and keep your brain fogged, so you won't be able to get out of it. The hardest step is that first push in the right direction. You know, to do something different, and you know, instead of just go get another one, you know, you turn around and go get help or go eat a meal. So at this point, I'm happy I went where I went today, so I'm able to find the location where I can get some shelter. Getting off the streets, I think, would be a good first step. Then once I get off the streets, I can continue with the detox, and there's a couple of clinics out here I know that offer Suboxone and methadone, and it's all state funded. It's all for free. So if I can get in this place and I can get her in there with me, I'll know that we're both safe. We both have somewhere inside to sleep, and then they can plug us in with the people who'll get our IDs. And then from that, you know, we'll be able to work and save money and get back all the things that I lost so quickly. But it's no life to live out here. I mean, you might think you don't have anybody to tell you what to do and you're living with no responsibility, but there's always a police officer riding around. There's always somebody who's looking to tell you what to do, or you know, tell you where to go or where you can't be. Nobody likes the epidemic that's going on out here, and you know, it's important to know that everybody's a person and a human too. You know, we're not animals. They're just people who are stuck and who are sick and don't know how to get out. You know, a lot of them don't like the way that they live. They just truly don't believe that they can be happy without drugs or being medicated. In a nutshell, for now, I'm going to continue with this First Stop program, see where it takes me. Maybe in a couple of weeks I could check back in with you guys, and hopefully I'll be doing better. I know there's clothing and stuff available there, so we should be looking better already by making those first few steps, and I'm excited about it. But don't end up out here, man. Kensington and this drug lifestyle is not the way to go. Life's got so much more to offer, and you'd be missing out. A lot of times people think that they're missing out by not getting high, but it's the other way around. When you get high, you miss out on everything else life has to offer. So I wish everybody the best. Thank you for listening to my story, and be well. God bless.
It's driving me insane. Silence rattles in my brain. Yeah, I gotta